Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are you having fun yet? We are officially in the month of March. If you could not tell, we're burning the midnight oil. We're well past that, but what a finish to day 2 in Nashville. The SEC men's basketball tournament never disappoints, and that was the case really all day long. Obviously, the first 2 games were thrillers. Tonight, we're going to talk about Mississippi State and Missouri. Mizzou getting the big win. And this game that just finished up, Kentucky and Oklahoma. My goodness, buckle in. We have got a lot to get into. Again, it is 1:16 a.m. Eastern. We appreciate each and every single one of you being locked in. I am Chris Phillips. He is lead basketball analyst Dave Shumate. We are excited to be here with each and every single one of you talking about this, breaking it all down, reacting to what we just saw and what we witnessed in the late session of day 2 of the SEC tournament. Once again, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast. If you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we're powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $150 in bonus bets today. Once again, the late session of day 2 of the SEC tournament. Well, it lived up to the billing. It lived up to the hype. It lived up to what the early session of day 2 provided, which was non-stop thrillers. Folks, this is the month of March. This is March Madness, what we're witnessing in Nashville. We're going to talk Mizzou's big win over Mississippi State, and the thriller of the day, really, the thriller of the night, Kentucky on the back of Otega Oweh finding a way to beat the Oklahoma Sooners essentially at the buzzer. Once again, I am Chris Phillips. Joining me to help break down these 2 games, my good friend and lead basketball analyst here at SEC Unfiltered, Dave Shumate. Dave, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Again, we're in the wee hours of the morning. There's nobody I'd rather be up with, chopping it up with, talking SEC basketball than you, my friend. What's going on?
What's going on, CP? Good morning to the rest of you folks celebrating SEC.
Hey, good night. Hey, good morning to the folks on the night shift. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's even good morning to the Central Time Zone, the good Central Time folks. But no, I mean, how do you feel if you're an Oklahoma fan, man? You go from a minute left thinking it's over, then the highest of highs, but we're having the improbable comeback to Otega Oweh once again, rips your heart out like you did just 2 weeks ago in Norman. Kentucky continues to find a way somehow, some way, even with Lamont Butler only playing 8 minutes, going out, re-aggravating that shoulder. Will he play tomorrow? I don't know. I'll be interested to go read Mark Pope's post-game press conference. But, man, you just keep winning if you're Kentucky, finding ways to do it. Again, Kentucky and Arkansas kind of have similar stories. I mean, those 2 teams have been the most banged up this year, but Kentucky kind of keeps chugging along a little bit more. Again, I think it'll be a little bit difficult without Lamont Butler, but big win for Kentucky. And then, like you said, Missouri, Mississippi State back and forth until obviously that score was a little misleading at the end. That game was, I think, in my opinion, much closer than a 12.85-73 finish there. It was back and forth within 4 and 5 the whole time. It feels like we played that game yesterday at this point. That was just a game ago. But no, Missouri, Dennis Gates, again, I think the roster is built for a tournament. It is. They go 9-10 deep. I could see them. I could certainly see them giving Florida some troubles. And again, this is a Missouri team that went into Gainesville and gave Florida one of their only home loss. Yeah, I believe their only home loss this year. And it wasn't even particularly that close. So exciting matchups tomorrow too, CP. But man, today, I mean, just delivered, dude. I mean, every game was fun.
Dave, we appreciate our live listeners who are tuned in, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Our friend Stevie G on YouTube says, simply, as a Sooner, I am broken. Let's start with that game, Dave, the late one that just finished up. Man, I mean, what a finish to a basketball game. 85-84, Kentucky gets the win, but Dave, that does not tell the entire story. Like you mentioned, sitting watching this game with about a minute left, Kentucky's up 5 or 6 points. You're thinking they pretty much had this game under wraps. I mean, Dave, just pure chaos breaks out at the end. couple turnovers. You mentioned Kentucky's doing everything they can to lose the game. Jeremiah Fears, there's nobody I feel worse for than Jeremiah Fears. That kid is a savage. I mean, he is a cold-blooded killer, and that's exactly what he was at the end. But the only problem was Kentucky had a guy named Otega Owe, who's already done it once to this team, that did it again. And as great a finish to that game was, Dave, I'll be totally honest with you, my heart breaks for Jeremiah Fears. My heart breaks for Oklahoma. Obviously, they're in the tournament, but this is bigger than that, man. This is bigger than the tournament. This is the guy who was on your team last year, who went to that side. It's like you went to the evil empire going to Kentucky. He's already beaten you once in your house. Game gets super chippy. I think you even mentioned they didn't shake hands after the game. Like, you could tell the refs were kind of monitoring the situation the entire game. Let's not let this get too crazy. I know you saw like the really hard foul. He brings the guy down. He's not accepting the help to get up, whatever. They're backing him off. You think Jeremiah Fears has won the game. Owe goes down, makes a tough shot. I mean, dude, that was as crazy a finish as you will see in college basketball.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's again, like you said, they're going to move. Both teams are going postseason again. Kentucky will get a third shot at Alabama tomorrow. But like you said, Oklahoma, you feel they've been short man this whole this tournament as well. I mean, Sam Godwin is out. Muhammad Wagi, who we mentioned last night, played really well. It didn't match that. I thought Oklahoma was better when they were with their four guards at times. But no, I thought overall, I thought Porter Moser's squad came in, did what they had to do to get an NCAA tournament bid, fought hard. I'm not going to say they should have. I mean, you could make a case they should have won tonight. They had every opportunity to win the game tonight. But, I mean, it always is well. I mean, you can always think
the way, Dave,
you
the
go
way
get off your feet. You go get off your feet and get rested for the tournament.
The way Kentucky blew it late, I could argue maybe they deserve to lose for the way they blew that game late. I mean, listen, Otega Owe makes the shot, but my God. I mean, my God. That was about to be a choke of epic proportions.
Yeah, that would have been almost worse than Alabama against Tennessee. I mean, when you really factor
I think it would have, yes.
Yeah, I mean, when you're factoring in, like, dude, they're just literally giving them this basketball game with their turnovers, right? And Oklahoma, I mean, Kentucky ended up with 12, and that's danger zone against other good basketball teams. So, yeah, I mean, Kentucky's going to have to clean that up. I think if they're going to want to beat Alabama tomorrow, will Lamont Butler play? I think that's the big question. Again, was questionable coming out of half, and I mean, he didn't even come out with his jersey on. And I think some people saw the video of him talking to Kerr Kriisa, still a Kentucky player who's out for the year himself, and his reaction didn't sound good. So I would anticipate Kentucky probably holding him out tomorrow. I don't know why you would play him tomorrow. I don't know why you would. I mean, again, you obviously want to beat Alabama, but is it at risk of him missing potentially the rest of the season when he could rest up for another week and maybe be ready for that first weekend? I don't know. I probably wouldn't play him.
Dave, I'm just going to say this, as you know, and the audience knows, I'm not a Kentucky fan. I'm not an Oklahoma fan. I hated the finish of that game. I don't know, man. Like, it's nothing against Kentucky, although Kentucky fans, y'all know, Kentucky's very easily hateable. It is just the brand. It is what it is. It's a compliment because of how good Kentucky basketball has been. God, it would have been such like that feel-good story for Oklahoma to win. Owe just steals it. I mean, just like he ripped their hearts out their chest and stomped on it in front of them. I mean,
this sounds hindsight 2020, but from a coaching perspective, you know he is going to want to go take that shot just from a personal standpoint. He's a human being. Let's go beat his work. You can't let him beat you. It's almost like Kentucky has plenty of offensive threats, but it's like I'm almost willing to give up somebody like Amari Williams having to take some elbow jumper wide open instead of Otega Owe beating us. It's like, dude, if we double him, he may try to force something, dribble it off his foot, step out of bounds. I don't know. It's just I don't think you let him get to the rim like that. And it's easier said than done in hindsight 2020, whatever you want to call it. But, man, I think everybody – I mean, I say that because –
everybody in the gym knew he was taking
look
that
look at our guy Stevie G here. I was screaming take Owe out of the game after the Fear score. I mean, I even texted in our SEC group messages like this is going to be Owe. Like, I mean, it 100% was. Yeah. I mean, even Molly McGrath said, and you said she was listening to Oklahoma's bench, and Porter Moser did say, hey, at about under the 4-minute timeout or under 8-minute timeout, I forget which one, like, hey, Ortega's going to go try to take over this game, fellas. And he wasn't wrong, but they couldn't do anything about it. So, yeah, disappointing finish. You're right. Yeah, it was almost like you got to the mountaintop and they just pulled the Christmas Carol story, the Christmas story where he's hanging on with Santa and they kicks him in his head and he slides down the whole side. It's like, you had a chance at the end. You got there, finished as a bridesmaid, not the bride. Yeah, disappointing finish for Oklahoma, but go get off your feet, get rested, probably be around a 10 or 11 seed in the NCAA tournament. Favorable matchups, you got to score, get Sam Godwin healthy. Who knows? But then Kentucky advances to tomorrow night against Alabama.
Yeah, I want to make it clear. I'm not mad that Kentucky won, but I would have loved the story with Oklahoma.
You should see this guy's TV. I mean, he just threw something.
Yeah, my place is just decked out in Louisville stuff. You don't believe a word I say. Stevie G, Dave says, tell me, do you guys think OU makes the dance? They're in. Yeah. Oklahoma's in. Yeah, Oklahoma's in the big dance. That's not a good
they
thing.
are too.
Like I said, they're going to get off their feet. They're going to be rested. Just looking at the stats, Dave, Kentucky shoots 52% from the field, 33% from three. Otega Owe, 27 points, including the game winner. Kobe Brea, 22 points in the ball game. Those are your leaders. Oklahoma shooting 48% from the field, 36% from three. God, Jeremiah Fears, man, just 28 points, a straight-up warrior, like I said. He doesn't shoot the three ball like great. I mean, he was only 2 for 11. That one he had late was a thing of beauty. That play that Porter Moser drew up. Yeah, I mean, that was just, I mean, that was textbook. Dave, any other thoughts on the game and these two teams? Obviously, again, like you mentioned, now the big challenge, let's focus on Kentucky. The big challenge now. Lamont Butler, what's his status? They got to take on Alabama. The question will be Butler's status, and it's your third time playing Bama. You're 0-2 against them. We know, man, it is really tough to beat a good team 3 times. But the status of Butler is going to be key.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we've had 2. I mean, the game in Lexington came down to the wire, 102-97 Alabama win. And then Alabama kind of separated themselves in that second half, getting a 96-83 win at home a couple of weeks ago in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, this one will be interesting. This will be their second time not to see Lamont Butler. We're talking Alabama. I don't know. Interesting. Both teams they both want to go play with a very high tempo. And I think when you try to keep up with Alabama in that perspective, it plays right into their hands. It'll be interesting. Without Lamont Butler, I think it'll be tough, in my opinion. I think it'll be a close game. But I think without Lamont Butler, and we don't know if he's for sure out or not. But if I was Kentucky, I mean,
why push it? I mean,
why? Yeah, man. It's not like you're gaining a seed line win in tomorrow. I mean, again, there's always a trophy to play for in this SEC tournament. But like long term, if you really want to go have a chance to go get to that second weekend, if you're Kentucky or further, you got to have Lamont Butler. So I think that's kind of the conversation you got to have there.
Dave, let's switch over to the big win from Mizzou, 85-73 over Mississippi State. Like you mentioned, maybe the score a little bit misleading this game, more so back and forth. But Missouri gets the win. You look at Mizzou, they shot 49% from the field, 33% from three. Tamar Bates leading the way with 25 points for the Tigers, and Tony Perkins with 20 points as well. You look at Mississippi State, shot 36% from the field, 20% from three. No surprise, Josh Hubbard leading the way, 24 points for them, and Keyshawn Murphy with 18 points. Your thoughts on this game? Like you mentioned, and we've talked about this, Dave, I think, the regular season. You know, we talked a lot about Mizzou. This is going to be an exciting team in March. They are – I think Mizzou is a team that's going to be one of those kind of dark horse, comes out of nowhere and you blink and you're like, oh, they're in the second weekend. Like they feel like a team to me that has a chance. If they get hot, they can make a run. You saw a little bit of that today. Really, really good basketball team. And, you know, Mississippi State just struggling to shoot the basketball. Good defense by Mizzou. Your overall thoughts, though, on this game and what Missouri was able to do against Mississippi State?
Yeah, give Missouri credit for getting the win even without Mark Mitchell. I mean, he went out with an injury, didn't return. So it's a kind of big of a flex win there. Again, this game was much closer than the game in the regular season, as we previewed when Missouri went to Starkville and just kind of put belt to ass, as you would say, Chris, in that one. But this one, no, this was one of the funner games of the day, too. Again, people will watch, look at the score here and probably think, oh, Missouri controlled. But no, I mean, this was within 4 to 5 points the whole time. I think Mississippi State, I've said it all season, their ceiling starts and ends with Riley Kugel, who's the Florida transfer, had a cup of coffee with Bill Self in Kansas. Now he's in Starkville. Had some key turnovers side, only 3 points, over 7 from the field, over 3 from beyond the arc. They need more. Chris James and them need more out of him. He's a defensive liability right now. That's what stood out to me about Mississippi State. I mean, Josh Hubbard's one of the best, like, just overall explosive athletes in this league. I mean, the way he can just explode up to there and shoot over guys when he's only about 5'10", just impressive, 24 points. I'm starting to lose a little more faith though State could be a second weekend team. I think they're one of the teams in the SEC. I don't think they are, because outside of Josh Hubbard, I don't trust anyone offensively. I thought that would be Riley Kugel. And then defensively, they're just not as good as a normal Chris Jans team is. For Missouri, we've talked about it. The bench is deep. The Mark Mitchell injury will be interesting when they play Florida. And I misspoke earlier. They beat Florida by 1, but they were up 15-16, I believe, at half in that game in Gainesville. They ultimately ended up winning. Again, that's the matchup tomorrow. So Florida will have that a little bit of a revenge factor, but we thought A&M had that revenge factor a little bit against Texas, and it didn't break their way. So who knows? But I think Florida playing about as good a basketball as anyone in college basketball. I would say right now they are playing the best basketball. Them having that chip on their shoulder, trying to redeem that win against Missouri will be key. But I thought Missouri gets another solid win against a really good Mississippi State team. Tamar Bates was big, 25 points, and then Tony Perkins came out firing from the first half on 20 points. So those are your primary scorers there. Dennis Gates' team, I keep saying it. I mean, they have the 6th man of the year, just comes off the bench, and Caleb Grill and can light up. I mean, what did Grill go for tonight? Now, only 5 points, though, 2 for 11, 1 for 8. State kept him in check, him and Cruz in check, but either one of those guys can go off. So that's what makes it. It can be someone different every night. If Mark Mitchell's healthy, Tamar Bates, Caleb Grill, Jacob Cruz, any of those guys can go off, Tony Perkins. So it's a very deep, flexible roster. It's just very versatile. So I like this team. I really do. So them in Florida will be interesting. That'll be a fun first evening session game.
Yeah, Grill is a guy like we talked about before, Dave, and I've talked about with you that, again, when I think about Mizzou in March, I don't know what it is. I think about like a guy like Caleb Grill dropping 30 on somebody's head, and they pull some upset.
Some neutral floor in Cleveland.
Yeah, just I can see it. I don't know. I can see Caleb Grill being that guy. Yeah, he can. If he gets hot, if the grill gets going and it gets hot, watch out. It'll be a barbecue, no doubt.
Hey, I know he looks like your local PE teacher / high school girls basketball coach. But
he's like 28.
Does Missouri not have the 2 oldest looking guys in the league, and Josh Gray?
Well, Josh Gray has been in the SEC.
Well, Josh Gray looks like he just left his son's college graduation. He's got 3 kids in college, and he's about to.
Like I said, Caleb Grill looks like the guy that the gym teacher that wears the polo tucked into the gym shorts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 10 years older than Josh Gray, but he looks 10 years older than me. I mean, literally, he looks like he's about to be.
Yeah, I mean, Dave,
he looks like he'd be an empty nester with his wife.
Dave, you could stand next to Caleb Grill, and I'd be like, yeah, that guy plays with that guy in college basketball.
Yeah. Or Caleb Grill works with Dave.
That too, exactly. Once again, Dave, we got some fun matchups tomorrow. These 2 teams we're talking about, Mizzou will take on Florida, and Kentucky will take on Alabama in the nightcap. I mean, dude, it's setting up to be another electric
Did they come out with any
day.
of those late night lines yet?
So let me double check, because I was just looking for the Kentucky line. And let's run through these really quickly. I'm going to run through the matchups. We'll get into the lines here. I'm actually pulling up the brackets as we speak. So going into tomorrow's action, guys, as we close out the night here, 1:34 a.m. Eastern, 12:34 a.m. Central. We appreciate you all staying up with us. This is what your schedule looks like today, not tomorrow, today, Friday, March 14th. We'll get it going 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. The number 1 seed, Auburn, takes on 8 seed Ole Miss. And these games, by the way, on ESPN, the first 2. Then at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 4 seed Tennessee takes on 13 seed Texas. That game also on ESPN. And I want to get to, Dave, before we talk about the last 2, this question from Clint. Saw your reaction earlier, Dave, but curious what Chris thinks of Texas' chance to make the tournament. I think at this point, if you lose to Tennessee, you might still get in. You're going to be very, very, very uneasy on Selection Sunday. If you want to leave no doubt, beat the Vols. It's really that simple. So I think it's a coin flip if they lose. Probably better than a coin flip they're in, but
55-45.
You don't want to leave it a chance. I don't know that you want to leave it to that much chance. So, anyways, that's my take. You want to be sure you're in, beat Tennessee. Again, that game, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ESPN between the Horns and Vols. Then the late session, 7 o'clock Eastern, which, again, we say 7 o'clock Eastern. Who knows? 6 o'clock Central, number 2 seed Florida taking on number 7 seed Mizzou on SEC Network. The final game, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. The number 3 seed Alabama taking on the number 6 seed Kentucky on the SEC Network. Now, Dave just mentioned, let's pull up the spreads for tomorrow's games. I don't know if we have the late ones, Dave. Let's see.
They may not, yeah.
We're going to at least get the early ones here. I want to make sure folks know. So, right now, the Auburn Tigers, and Dave and I have talked about these off air, so I'm not going to ask them to guess. Auburn is an 11.5-point favorite over Ole Miss. The over-under set at 154.5. Dave, you thought that was a little bit high, right, going into tomorrow, correct? A little bit high? Double digit?
I mean, the way the first two matchups have gone, I mean, no, not really. I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't touch that game.
Yeah. Tennessee, a 9.5-point favorite over Texas. Over-under set at 134.5. Thoughts? Sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, you think Texas got to be a little tired, right? I mean, this will be their third game in 3 days.
Texas plus 400 if you still believe in the Horns.
Yeah, that line's about right.
Florida, an 8.5-point favorite over Missouri. Over-under set at 160.5. That one feels a little big to me. I know Florida's playing great basketball. That one feels a little
Missouri,
big.
Well, you're right. That does feel a little big.
A little bit.
I wonder if Mark Mitchell will play.
Yeah, that'll be the question. And then, we just got a line. Dave, it just happened because literally 2 seconds ago, this was not updated. My friend, would you like to guess what the line is for Alabama, Kentucky?
5. Alabama -5.
Alabama minus 5.5.
Ooh, I was about to
right
say
on it. Right on it. Bama minus 5.5. The over-under, 178.5. So we're going to get some points in this ball game. We're going to get some points more than likely. It's going to be a lot of offense.
I mean, these two teams have played twice. I mean, Bama scored over 100 the first time, and what was the final? I'm looking at the final of the second one. It was, all right, so first one, sorry, I'm pulling up here. So the first final was 102-97. Second one was 96-83. So Alabama's about averaging 100 points between these two contests in this one. And Kentucky's not far.
And I thought it was funny, too. They had Nate Oates. I'm sure you saw this, Dave. They had Nate Oates on the panel or whatever. Like, they interviewed him, the SEC Network crew. I think this was at halftime. Yeah, and he was like, they were asking about, like, what are you trying to accomplish or what do you want to see from your team? And he's like, I've heard all these coaches come up here and talk about play better defense. Like, I haven't heard anybody talk about just outscore the other team. And I'm like, that's kind of what he wants to do, is just outscore the opponent. He's like, yeah, I mean, we have the number 1 offense in the country. So if we play good defense, I mean, we're going to beat everybody we play, which he's not wrong. So, but yeah, going to be a fun one. Bama, a 5.5-point favorite. Dave, how does your perception of that game change if Lamont Butler cannot or does not go for the Cats?
Say that again. You cut out for a minute.
How does your perception of the game, like your feeling on the game, change if Butler doesn't go for Kentucky?
I mean, I obviously don't like their chances as much because he is their best on-ball defender. And also, they just look a little more organized and more structured when he's out there. They look a little lost at times offensively. Again, they still have scorers like Brea, Owe, Carr. I mean, they can get going. But again, I mean, you're just I don't know. He's just kind of the leader, the captain. He was on the San Diego State team that played the national title game. He's been there, done that, had experience. It's not too big for him. It's definitely a loss.
So, guys, it's going to be a really fun one, a great Friday. Once again, we will be back. Same schedules we've been the first 2 days of the tournament, middle of the day after the first 2 games. You're going to get myself and Dave Shumate breaking down these games, talking about it, reacting to it. And then after the final 2 games, and with the slate we've got tomorrow, or today, I should say, it is set up to be yet another electric day on the hardwood in Nashville. Going to be awesome. Dave, let's get to a few more here. Let's see. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Chad, what about Arkansas? Are they in? I think it's safe to say Arkansas is in. Safe to say Arkansas is in. D make it calling his shot. Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, Tennessee in the semifinals. That's fair. I mean, Kentucky beating Bama though. That's a bold pick.
Yeah, you feel pretty good 3 out of 4 of those.
Yeah, that's a pretty.
It wouldn't shock you if that was it either. Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't stun you, but Kentucky over Bama is a bold pick a little bit. Jackson, the Texas A&M reaction from earlier today. Go to our YouTube. It is on there. My friend Dave over here did all of that. Really, really good stuff. Again, guys, we're going to go ahead and close it out. It's late in the morning. We're about to hit 2 a.m. I know Dave's got things to do. I got things to do. You all have things to do.
Got things to do tonight.
But college basketball never sleeps, baby. This is the month of March. We've made it to March Madness. Dave, appreciate you doing this, man. Thank you so much. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. And, guys, we thank our friends as well over at FanDuel because we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. This bracket season, FanDuel is letting you make the call because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. There's tourney action almost every day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. Guys, we're dropping our picks every single day, not just for the SEC tournament. March Madness is upcoming as well. You can tail us. You can fade us. Do whatever you want, but we're going to be here dropping our picks no matter what. Visit FanDuel.com. Put your picks in at FanDuel.com/SECU and get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 and up and present in select states or 18 and up and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Once again, guys, we are back tomorrow after the early session, after the late session. You already know the drill. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast or get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. For lead basketball analyst at SECU, Dave Shumate, I'm Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Go get some sleep. We got a packed Friday coming. We will check you all out and talk to you all tomorrow.